I want you to think back to the first time you ever remember being truly afraid. What was it? Does it stick with you today? This is the sort of thing that we talk about on the House of Asher. Won't you join us? The House of Asher, a clearinghouse for the mind.
All right, welcome to House of Asher. I'm your host, Steve Asher. This is March 9th, and you're getting ready to see episode 12. And as you probably can tell, the wall of international horror is strangely absent. That's because I am in the processes of getting into a new office space to be able to do these little conversations and stories and whatnot. So I am in transit. I'm a man without a country at the moment, but that's okay. We'll get through this. Something I was going to talk about is I live probably within 15 minutes of LBL, more probably known by people not in the region as Land Between the Lakes. Land Between the Lakes was something of a land grab. People's properties were grabbed up and they dammed up waters between like Lake Barkley and I guess the river, the water, like on the river. But anyway, just around Lake Barkley and Kentucky River. Thank you. Anyway, so and they dammed it up, and it's like they snagged like 170,000 acres and like just a ton of shoreline, and turned it into a nature preserve. And people can camp and this and that. So anyway, but the thing that I want to talk about is the LBL monster, or the beast of Land Between the Lakes. And this is a thing that's always sort of weird to me because, I grew up, watching the Wolfman stories and all that. And this is different. It's, you hear a lot of stuff about like skinwalkers and, out west, and you hear, of course, werewolf stories, or were tiger stories in India, or whatever, were leopards, or were kangaroos. God knows why you'd have a were kangaroo, but whatever. But the creature basically is a type of canine, and reports said it's around 7 to 8 foot tall, brownish, kind of a dirty brownish, darker brown coloration to its fur. It's bipedal, which means it stands upright, walks around. Some people have tried to explain this off as a bear, but most of these people that grew up in this area knows what a bear looks like, especially if you lived in those areas. See, there was, as I understand, reports of this creature before it became a reserve. I mean, areas like Golden Pond and, Paradise and these other little places, which these were thriving cities. These were, upwardly mobile communities. So it would be like, for me, it would be like one of our bigger towns is like Paducah or Massville, and they just come in and said, "Nah, shut it down, pow." And the thing is, people even then were having situations where people reported seeing, this large, fierce-looking, powerful canine that walked on both feet. And what was really always weird to me is the fact that there was no wear to it. It was like, this is pure beast. And I've talked to people that had mentioned there had been, I guess, murders of campers and people hiking and whatnot and stuff. And a lot of times they're written off as something else, or death by misadventure. They fell off the side of a mountain or something like that. And, well, before we got to them, animals got to them. But there are some stories where apparently people were camping, like a family was camping. Somebody grabbed the dad, like a big man, in a sleeping bag, drug him up into a tree and started, hung up there to eat on him. And bears are really really stout, but bears aren't going to go up to the top of a tree. Um, our cougars or whatnot, they're generally going to get to the lower limbs and do what they got to do there. And they do it. They don't put you up there generally, I don't think, and keep you there like refrigeration. But that was one of the weirder stories. And there was actually I guess you'd be a park ranger or a park deputy, maybe if it's security. I'm really not sure how the legalities and titles all that work. But had told people in confidence that, if the either CIA or FBI, one of the alphabet agencies, come in and basically dummied everybody up and said, look, this is what you saw, son. Don't worry about that. On this paper, this is it. And this is what you're seeing. So that in itself built an allure and built, people talk about Bigfoot. There's a lot of people talking about Bigfoot. There's actually going to be I think a Bigfoot, I won't say a hunt, but a seeking out of Bigfoot very, very soon. But I know of a lot of people that's seen, prints that were, not like the bigger, wider type ones, but almost like more narrow base, like a canine foot, where it kind of would flower out with the larger pads on the end. And, people have shown pictures of it and stuff. Is it a hoax? Possibly, maybe not. But what I thought was really cool about it was the fact that, first of all, LBL in Western Kentucky in general has vast forests and plenty of room for things to hide. And so my feelings on it are, someone had asked, is it possible? Sure, of course it is. We discover new animals every day, new species of this or that, or different animals that we thought went extinct, 100,000 years ago. Never mind, they're not extinct. There's 4 or 5 of them down in this little valley that's cut off from everybody else. And that's what you got to understand about Land Between the Lakes. While, yes, there's roads cutting through areas, there's great swaths of hundreds of acres or more that are just not being used, maybe back access roads to where we would go to old housing developments and things. And the average citizen just doesn't walk up to them, because whatever, it's deemed unsafe or whatever. Yeah, so there are areas where things can bed down. There's areas where things can settle in pretty comfortably. And again, Western Kentucky's just Swiss cheesed with caves under it. And there's caves there too. There's caves everywhere. I'm over a cave where I live. So to think that, well, we've got it all figured out. We don't even know 2% of what's in our oceans. And you know what I'm saying? So I mean, we don't have it like that. We'd like to think we have it like that, but we're not there yet. But the point I'm getting to is that I do think that dogman stories, I've heard enough of people that something's up, don't know what it is, don't know if it's some sort of weird hybrid, I don't know what it is. But, there's everything from, good Lord, Indian and witch curses and reports of, strange lights in the sky, like UFO type contactee type stuff. There's a lot of really weird stuff that goes on in this beautiful area. I mean, it's lovely. I travel there as much as I can, when I'm free, and feel very connected to it. But, there's a dark side to like everything. Everything is going to have a dark side, for the most part. So, again, it was always very curious to me that so many people would kind of poo-poo it off, or even worse. The worst thing somebody could do to me is go, the people's like, well, it's probably nothing, to play a light, whatever. But the one's like, yeah, it's not really something I talk about, something I really want to talk about. that's when I get intrigued. Like, oh, something's going on. I got to go see what's up. So, um, I have some friends that do squatching and things like that, and they've told me a lot of weird stuff that they bumped into and all that. But as I'm coming to a close on this, I'm curious what you guys think. I want to hear your dogman stories. I want to hear your experiences in LBL, the Land Between the Lakes, which runs, from Western Kentucky all the way down into like Dover, Tennessee. It goes a long way. I want to hear your experiences, and I want to hear your take on it, how you feel about it. But as I told you, it's going to be a short segment, so I'm going to wind this down. So as the day draws to a close and nighttime approaches, check under your bed, check in your closet, check if you got woods outside, check it, peek out the window. I don't know, it might be a dog man outside. It could be a whole lot of things outside. But most importantly, stay scared.